Hello, today we're going to be talking about California Common Core State Standard Math Content 2.0a. Use addition and subtraction within 100 to solve one and two-step word problems involving situations of adding to, taking from, putting together, taking apart, and comparing with unknowns in all positions by using drawings and equations with a symbol for the unknown number to represent the problem. So what that means is students are going to be breaking apart word problems. Some word problems will just have one part, others will have two. For example, there are 15 birds in a tree, 3 fly away. Then 5 more join. How many birds are there in the tree? So first the student has to break the word problem apart into two parts and solve the first problem. So there were 8 birds in a tree and then some left. And the tricky part is they have to take the answer from the first part of the equation and bring it down to the second to find the total number of the birds now in the tree. Our goal is to understand how to read a word problem and decompose the first and second steps that are needed to compare, add, and subtract the unknown variables. Our goal is also to create equations to solve word problems, recognizing there are how many birds in a tree, some leave and they come back, and then determine if the answer is correct using reasoning and reflection. So looking again at the word problems that they have created from the word problem itself, and then seeing, does that make sense, using their logic. So our essential question is, how can students break down word problems and write an equation to solve a one and two-step word problem? So that's our main essential question. The prior knowledge that students should know is adding and subtracting within 100, reading and deconstructing word problems, so being able to recognize a word problem and deconstruct it and make it a math equation. Write word problems into addition and subtraction sentences to solve equations, and add and subtract within 20 to solve word problems. Misconception and errors that students can make. Students need to understand how one step of the word problem relates to the second step of the word problem, right? So we have the first step is there are how many birds in our tree and a few leave, right? That's our first step. They then need to understand that there is a second part. So one depends on the other. Students need to know how to carry the answer from the first step into the second step to get the correct answer to the problem. Our conceptual knowledge. Develop an understanding of how to break down word problems to create and solve the equation. Using addition and subtraction to solve word problems, and breaking apart the word problem into the first and second step. Procedural fluency. Okay, we're going to be modeling using manipulatives, modeling using 10 frames, adding and subtracting within 100, and writing addition and subtraction sentences. The Big Five pedagogy. So working on daily routines and number talks would be an excellent routine for students that incorporates math problems into their everyday learning activities and allows students to think critically and reflect on their math strategies. Number talks can be a lot of fun. Students often really like them. They get to use whiteboards, they get to think about their math, and it's a very low impact type of math activity. It can be done as a whole group, it can be done in a small group, it can be done one-on-one. It can be done in many different ways with many different math standards. So those number talks first thing in the morning, creating those daily routines with that are super important. I think math talks are really cool because it also allows students to share the strategies that they have used. And that's really special. In our activity, like we discussed, students will participate in number talks activity at the beginning of each day to reinforce what they're learning in their math lessons. They do their math warm-up, we have our math lesson, they have their independent math work, and then the next day we review it in our number talks in our daily routine. That's really important in reinforcing what they've learned. By the next morning, their brain has had time to kind of settle in what they've learned and make sense of it, and they